Okay, we're back again, and we have with us an author of a very wonderful, interesting book that is good for everybody to read. And his name is Herbert Keener, and he's the author of Decision to Die, Strength to Live. And this is, I'm really anxious to hear about this because with me it wasn't drinks or anything like that. It was just part of me that decided, do I want to stay around or do I want to go? So I know it's something that a lot of people must go through, and so I want to hear what made you decide to write Decision to Die, Strength to Live.
Yeah. The main thing is I was into something I absolutely had no control of, and I thought I had complete control. Oh. See? And when I realized that the syndicate I tied up with had a undercover agent there for 3 years. When they needed a new runner from Mexico to Chattanooga, Tennessee. So here I walk up, and they tested me for over a year, and then they decided that I was okay and I wouldn't steal their stuff. So they put me to work, and on the third trip, the TBI agents, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, made their move. They swooped down, and I ended up in the swamp, up a tree, everything imaginable. And as it ended up, the people that sent me and the people to receive me thought I was stealing their stuff. Like, I'm 2,000 miles away from home. If I was going to steal it, I would steal it at home. So they wasn't real smart in their decision.
No.
They swooped in, took the drugs out of my truck, and then the TBI agents swooped on them, put them in prison for a while. But as it turned out, I was turned loose from the law, and I was turned loose from the syndicate, mainly because I'd done all their rules. And the TBI agents, if they kept me, they had to turn them two loose, and they were the two top people in the syndicate.
Wow.
So, but when I found out that I couldn't get away, I decided to commit suicide because I couldn't deal with the consequences of my life. And so when I went to actually do the act, this voice, not from within, but from without, that said, now that you've decided to die, you'll have the strength to live.
Oh.
And I got a peace that I never knew in my entire life, not since, not before. But I had a peace.
Wow.
So I went back to my motel room to take the consequences, going to prison, whatever. And it never happened. And in the book, you'll be able to see that a lot of circumstances got me free from both ends.
Wow.
From the syndicate and from the law. And the main thing is about this is I try to get into churches and speak and let them know. Young people need to know consequences sometimes are not just slap on the hand. It's consequences can be death.
Oh, yeah.
It's very harmful. And I put my whole family in jeopardy because the way they do things, you know. If I would have ended up being the undercover agent, they'd have killed my family probably.
Oh, my God.
So I put people in jeopardy without their permission. So I had a lot. When I decided to take my life, I realized that my daughter, I knew she graduated from high school, but I had no idea whether she went to her prom, whether she had a boyfriend or what. I had no idea. So that made me realize I was worthless. I was 43 years old standing there realizing how worthless I was. But only by the grace of God, I'm here now. That was 37 years ago.
Wow.
My daughter, she's in her early 60s, and just, it's great. It's wonderful. My life is in the best position it's ever been in my entire life.
Wonderful.
Right now.
Oh.
I'm living my best right now.
Fantastic.
My wife, Shirley Jane, I met her in the church. 9 days later, we got married.
Oh my gosh.
And we have 37 years coming up this February 11th.
Fantastic.
Isn't that February 17th?
That
I
you
better
could
watch
find,
that. I'll get in
you
trouble.
could find your mate that easily.
It's what?
It's so wonderful that you could find your mate that easily, because
It is.
most of us are trying like heck and we have a hard time.
I
but
mean,
that's a miracle. That's
Right.
wonderful.
I'm in the prime of life right now at 81 years old.
That's fantastic. That's a good time to start.
So I've lived enough lifetime for two people, so I'm working on my third one. So
Oh, okay.
I'm doing wonderful. My wife's doing wonderful, and it's just a great time.
That is so wonderful.
Yes.
And how did you happen to meet your wife?
How did I what?
Meet your wife.
Oh, I found a church. I went into the church, and there she sat. And we went to school together.
Oh.
Yeah, in the early years, we were in Stockton, California. We both were raised there. We went to the elementary school together, and we went to high school together. But we knew each other, but never was connected in any way
That's
until
amazing.
I walked into that church, and we were both in our 40s, and I was 44 years old, and so was she.
Oh.
So once we met, and we knew it was the thing to do, and we've been married coming 37 years now.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How wonderful. That is so. It's a miracle to hear people talk about finding their mate and being able to
Yes.
stay with them and join their life to be really real mates and not break apart. That is, to me, just fantastically
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, there's always consequences to what we do,
Oh,
good or bad. And I'm hoping people will get on herbkeener.com, and that's where you can order the book. And
so
you can, on that website, you can also go in and read part of the book to see if you're interested in doing it. It'll turn the pages for you, and you can read some of the thing, like chapter 11 or something. It's somewhere around it. So you can read quite a bit. Then after the third or fourth page, it says you can find the rest of this in the book.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yes,
That's
it-
wonderful
yeah.
because it opens the door for them to
Right.
want to read the
Yeah.
rest of the book. And the book is wonderful. It's called Decision to Die and Strength to Live.
Yes,
And that's a miracle.
yeah. And you can also see our first interview from 2 years ago. It's on my website.
Oh my gosh.
I have 3 interviews on there, one with Mike and you and Mike and Athena. But our first interview, which you were the first one I was interviewed by 2 years ago.
That's great. That's great for me to be part of what is happening to you, but because it's an easy. You think it's fairly easy sometimes that you make a decision. Oh, if I were just dead, I wouldn't go through all of this. But that part is the easy part.
Yeah.
The strength to live.
The strength to live is the hard part.
That's the hard part. And how did you come to that strength? How did you find it?
Well, it just, once it was God. That's just all it was to it. And once I realized that, it didn't matter whether I went to prison or whether I was free. I would still be free even in prison. So I just said, okay, whatever time I've got left on this earth, I'll live in peace.
Good.
See, and this is a peaceful time for me. It hadn't always been, even in the 37 years. But this is a time of peace. This is a time, and who knows how much time we have left.
Yeah.
But I know this for sure. Whatever time I got left, it's all contributed to the grace of God.
Oh.
And I'm going to start a talk show here in November 3rd
Oh.
at 2 o'clock. It'll be every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and it'll be talking about the elderly. Because me being 81, I got to know something about being old. So I'm going to have a talk show, an hour-long talk show, and I'm going to talk about those that are whining and crying about being old, and about quit whining and crying and start living.
I love it. I love it.
But that's what that's going to be the basis of the thing, and I'm going to do it every week until I figure it's not worth it.
Oh, it is going to be worth it, believe
Yeah.
me, because that's one of the things that happens so easily with older
Yes.
people, that you think, oh, what a wasted life, and
Right.
what am I here for, and maybe I shouldn't be here, and
Right.
it gets all complicated in that stuff. But to have a book about it, and something that people can see, oh my gosh, that's what I
Right.
was thinking. Oh my gosh, I was doing that. Oh my gosh. And then they see what happens, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to go to the worst. It can go to the strength to live.
Exactly right.
It can become positive instead of negative. And that's why this book is so fantastic, because too many times we get into the sad part of things, and
Yes.
we stop looking at the beautiful parts of life. So for the older people,
Right.
it's very important for us to be thinking beautiful, bright things, because we've been given extra years, and they're not to waste and to feel sorry for ourselves and to talk about dying. It's for living, right?
That's right. You know, life is a gift, and what we do with it is our gift back to the Maker.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so, yeah, almost fell into that trap too, even in the past few years. Man, I'm getting old. I can't do this. I can't do that. I quit worrying about what I couldn't do, and I started doing what I could do. So
Wonderful.
this is why I want to do that talk show, is to inspire people to get out of the age thing.
Oh,
Get into what you're capable of doing.
that is fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
going to push that show every way that I can, because that is so important.
Yes.
Because you really can get so scared. I guess it's scared,
Yes.
and you don't realize that you've got a whole lot of life left
I know it.
that you can do something with, and sitting there being scary doesn't do anything.
That's right. And then about the time you're fixing to leave this earth, you say, wow, why didn't I do more? They need to realize that now while they're able to do more.
That's fantastic, and that's why your
And-
show is going to be so great.
See, that's what the reason I am so adamant about it is I went through that stage. I can't do this because I'm that.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
but if I can't do that, I can do something else. And we understand sickness and illnesses and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But laziness or being complacent, I can't understand that, because I went through both of those. And every person is capable, like myself. I'm blessed with health. I'm in great health. And there's probably millions of people just like me, and they're sitting there worried about what they can't do instead of take the medicine the doctor gives you, get up and go do something.
Right on.
God invented these doctors, so he invented the medicine to keep us alive. I take 4 or 5 in the morning, 2 or 3 at night. So what?
Yeah.
And take it and get up and do something besides just sit around and cry.
Oh, that's a philosophy that I really 100% for, because I've slipped my times.
Yeah.
You know, all of us do, and we can't kick ourselves because we slip once in a while. It's all that we get back the strength to live,
Right.
and get back into the right thoughts and the right dreams. And you can still dream for things if you're in your 80s. You can still dream of something you might want to do. Why not? You might get to do it.
Because, see, the reality is this. Everybody's made a decision to die when they quit doing anything. They decide, well, I'm going to wait till I die. So instead of that, make a choice to live. Live until you die. Don't quit and then die.
I love it. I love it. That's my thing from now on.
Praise the
That's
Lord.
great. And what is so wonderful is that we have it in all of these things in a book. It's not that you get done listening to this gentleman talk and tell you these things, and you go home and everything's terrible.
Yeah.
No, get the book, because you can keep reading and you find out how he discovered how life is so beautiful, and it doesn't matter what age you're in.
That's right.
It's beautiful as long as you're still alive. You always can find something exciting to do,
Yes.
and there are a lot of things that don't take a whole lot of physical energy and stuff. Like when you're young, your body is so important, but your brain is still
That's
here,
right.
and your brain
It's
is still working, and you can do a heck of a lot of things. And even if you sit down and you write about your life, something that happened in your life,
That's right.
that's really important, because it means that you're in contact with who
Yes.
you are. And so anytime you sit down and write something that happened in your life, that's a good thing. That's a good
Yes.
thing to do. And if you have the talent to write a book like this, it's even more fantastic. And what is more fantastic too is that it's for sale. It's
Amen.
not very expensive. And boy, it could answer so many problems in your life, and so many of decisions about yourself that are negative, that you can turn around and say, "Oh my God, that was stupid." That's not going to stop me.
Amen.
We have to know that as long as we're alive, we're with God, and as long as you're with God, you can keep going, because God never quits. He never quits. So, a good idea for anybody who wants to live happier: get this book and start changing your life, becoming
Yes.
more positive in your thinking, and stop thinking about the fact that, oh my God, I'm in the 80s, my life is over.
That's it.
What about the people who are in the 90s? There's even people who make it to 100 or maybe over, so why get stopped by being in the 80s?
That's
You know,
right.
You never know how far you can go.
But everybody needs to love somebody,
Yes.
and everybody needs to be loved. That's the reason this world is in the condition it is. They quit worried about loving, and they wanted more about gathering greedy things. And young people, I want to talk to them on that talk show too, is because we start coming invisible at 70. We can walk in the middle of the youngsters and they don't even see us because they were expired. To them, we have an expiration date, and you get about 70, and that's when they start not being able to see us.
Oh my God.
They need to start looking and seeing the wisdom that is from the elderly people, along with the elderly people looking at the youngsters, trying to minister to them the wisdom they learned during the year. But they don't think we know anything just because we're 70 and 80.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard thing we have to break through.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was very young, I knew this older woman, and she was very nice, and I liked her so much. And she says, "Well, I have a son in the theater." And I says, "Oh, who is that?" She says, "Dan Duryea." And I said, "Oh my gosh, he's a big star. He's well known and everything." And I say, "Well, what does he do for you?" And she says, "He doesn't do anything."
Amen. That's it.
And that's the sad part, because that's what brought you into the world, and you can't forget that. No matter how successful you may become, you still
Yes.
got roots that you have to tend to.
Yeah.
You have to water your roots.
It's exciting, and all they need to do is tune in on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and they're going to get probably more information than they want.
That is fantastic, and we're going to keep talking about your show too. So, going to let you go for today, and it's been wonderful, wonderful having you here
Thank you
and
so
talking
much.
to you, and wonderful for me to meet you. So,
It's been a pleasure again
yes,
being with you.
yes, so much. Thank you so much, and thank you, everybody. Come
Yes.
listen to our show because we always have fantastic things and fantastic people, and everything is positive, right? Positive. Bye bye.
Amen.